Let's transfer real motion onto a completely different character using Kling 2.6 Motion Control. With Motion Control, we're not inventing movement, we're transferring it. Kling takes a real performance from a video and applies it directly onto a character image, while preserving that character's identity. Now let's see how this works in practice. For our motion reference, we're using a professional boxer shadowboxing. In a real workflow, this could be a phone recording, a training clip, or any performance you've captured yourself. Next, we define who will perform that motion. In this case, a mythological bronze statue inspired by a classical Greek god, already placed in a cinematic, open sky setting, with classical columns framing the scene. We place this image into start image. That's the character we want to animate. Then we place the boxer video into video reference. That's what drives the movement, the rhythm, and the physical performance. Now let's talk about the prompt. Here's something important. In motion control, you do not describe the action. You don't write boxing or throwing punches. The motion already comes entirely from the reference video. Describing the movement again can actually interfere with the transfer. The prompt is only used to control what surrounds the motion, such as the environment, lighting, atmosphere, or the camera. While you can modify the background directly here, Kling 2.6 Motion Control is primarily designed for movement transfer, not for rebuilding complex environments. For more precise scene changes, it's usually better to prepare the image first using an image model. We'll show that workflow later in this tutorial. Because we like the background of our statue image, we don't change the environment. The open sky and the classical columns already create the cinematic mood we want. So our prompt focuses exclusively on cinematic camera movement. We begin with a medium-tight framing from mid-thigh upward, slightly low angle to emphasize monumentality. The camera performs a slow, controlled orbit around the statue at waist height, with smooth, engineered, deliberate motion. The final composition is wide and balanced with generous breathing room and refined cinematic scale. Before generating, let's quickly look at the settings. Kling 2.6 Motion Control supports a minimum resolution of 720 pixels and a maximum of 1080 pixels. You can't go higher than Full HD with this model. Next, notice the scene source option. This lets you decide whether the final aspect ratio follows the reference video or the character image. If they have different formats, this setting determines which one defines the final frame. In our case, both share the same horizontal format, so either option works. Once everything is set, we generate. Now the bronze statue performs the exact boxing mechanics from the reference video, jabs, crosses, pivots, while preserving proportions and sculptural realism. The visual definition comes from the image. The biomechanics come from the video. From here, we can experiment, swap the statue for another character and keep the same motion, change the environment, or reuse the same performance across completely different visual styles. Now imagine we want a completely different background. We go to the image generator. There we select a strong image model, for example Nano Banana Pro, which performs very well when modifying environments while preserving the subject. We upload our bronze statue as a character reference. Then we write a detailed prompt, for example, change the background of my character to an ultra-cinematic professional boxing ring at night, with dramatic overhead lighting, atmospheric haze, refined ring details, realistic shadow contact, and consistent lighting integration. The more specific we are about lighting, scale, atmosphere, and integration, the more believable the result will feel. We adjust the settings, choose the format and quality we need, and click Generate. Once we get a version we like, it appears in our history. From there, we upload it as a new start image in Kling 2.6 Motion Control. Then we repeat the same process. The motion still comes from the same reference video. Our prompt focuses only on smooth cinematic camera movement. Same motion, new environment, completely different atmosphere. Once you understand how to separate motion from identity and environment, you can redesign the character first, then transfer the performance again. Now it's your turn to test different combinations and explore the possibilities.